Title: A Haunted Holiday. I never expected my dream vacation to turn into a living nightmare, but that's exactly what happened when I booked a week-long stay at the eerie Ravenwood Lodge. The place had a reputation for being haunted, but I thought it was all just a bunch of hocus pocus. Little did I know that I was about to experience a vacation gone wrong, like no other. My best friend Alex and I arrived at the lodge on a gloomy afternoon. As we pulled up the long, winding driveway, I couldn't help but notice the eerie silence that surrounded the place. The tall, gnarled trees seemed to reach out like skeletal hands, and the dark clouds overhead threatened to unleash a storm. The lodge itself was an imposing Victorian mansion that had seen better days. The once vibrant paint on its walls was now chipped and faded, and the windows looked like hollow, unblinking eyes. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, I tried to reassure myself that it was just an old building, and the ghost stories were merely tales to entertain tourists. We were greeted by a strange, gaunt woman who introduced herself as Mrs. Blackwood, the caretaker of the lodge. Her cold demeanor and piercing gaze sent shivers down my spine. She handed us the keys to our room and warned us to stay away from the third floor, claiming it was under renovation. I chuckled nervously, wondering if it was the ghostly floor everyone warned about. As night fell, the lodge transformed into a creepy spectacle. The flickering gas lamps cast ominous shadows on the walls, and the wind howled like a pack of wolves outside. Alex and I decided to explore the lodge despite our apprehensions, hoping to find some entertainment to distract us from the eerie ambiance. The lodge was filled with antique furniture and dusty portraits of people who seemed to stare right through you. We joked about the paintings, imagining them coming to life at night. But as we ventured further into the lodge, things took a bizarre turn. In the grand dining hall, we found an old phonograph playing an eerie tune on its own. The melody sent chills down my spine and goosebumps erupted on my arms. Alex and I exchanged a nervous laugh, trying to shrug off the unnerving occurrence. Next, we stumbled upon a room filled with ancient artifacts and strange symbols. The air grew colder, and the room seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. I convinced myself that it was all a part of the lodge's decor, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Unable to shake off the unease, we decided to retire to our room for the night. However, our sleep was short-lived. I awoke in the dead of night to the sound of distant whispers and footsteps echoing in the halls. Alex claimed not to hear anything, but I knew I wasn't imagining it. The following day, things took a turn for the worse. Alex started to act strangely, becoming increasingly moody and distant. He claimed he felt a presence following him, but I dismissed it as his imagination getting the best of him. However, as the days passed, his condition worsened, and he became visibly drained. One night, as I lay awake, I heard the unsettling sound of a child's laughter echoing through the lodge. The laughter soon turned into sorrowful cries, and I couldn't bear to ignore it any longer. Determined to uncover the source of the haunting, I decided to investigate the forbidden third floor. The stairwell leading to the third floor was creaky and covered in cobwebs. Each step felt like a battle against unseen forces trying to dissuade me from ascending. When I finally reached the top, I was greeted by a putrid smell and an overwhelming sense of dread. The third floor was indeed under renovation, but not in the way Mrs. Blackwood had described. Instead, I discovered a hidden room filled with dusty toys and tattered photographs. My heart sank as I realized the tragic truth of Ravenwood Lodge. In the old photographs, I recognized the faces of the children whose laughter and cries haunted the lodge. They were the victims of a terrible accident that had occurred years ago when the lodge was a children's orphanage. The memory of the disaster still lingered, trapping their souls in the confines of the decaying mansion. As I rushed to share my findings with Alex, I found him in a trance-like state, muttering incoherently. The supernatural forces that plagued the lodge had taken hold of him, and he was no longer the friend I knew. Terrified and desperate, I sought Mrs. Blackwood's help, but her true identity was revealed when she coldly laughed at my predicament. She was a vengeful spirit, haunting the lodge and feeding off the misery of others. Her sinister plan had worked, as Alex had become the perfect vessel for her malevolence. I knew I had to break the curse and save my friend. Armed with the knowledge of the children's tragic fate, I confronted the malevolent spirit and pleaded for her to release Alex from her grasp. Through a combination of tears and determination, I convinced her that she could find peace by letting go of her hatred. In a climactic moment, the spirits of the orphaned children appeared, guiding Mrs. Blackwood to the afterlife. With a final burst of ethereal light, the curse was broken, and the lodge fell silent once more. As the days passed, the dark clouds lifted, and the eerie atmosphere slowly dissipated. Alex returned to his usual self, with no memory of the haunting he had endured. We packed our bags, grateful to leave the cursed lodge behind. While the memories of our haunted vacation were forever etched in our minds, we knew that it was a cautionary tale we would share with others. Some vacations are meant to be memorable, but ours turned out to be a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that dwell in the shadows, waiting to prey on unsuspecting souls. Title: The Jinxed Cabin. It was supposed to be a relaxing getaway, a chance to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and enjoy a peaceful week in the remote wilderness. My friends and I had rented a secluded cabin nestled deep in the woods. Little did we know that this vacation would turn into a spine-chilling experience we would never forget. As we approached the cabin, an ominous feeling washed over me. The cabin's exterior looked quaint, but there was an unsettling aura about it. We dismissed our unease, attributing it to the unfamiliar surroundings. The first night was uneventful, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. Strange sounds echoed throughout the cabin, like footsteps when everyone was accounted for. We laughed it off, blaming our imagination and the creaky old structure. The next day, we decided to explore the nearby woods. As we hiked deeper into the wilderness, we stumbled upon an abandoned graveyard. The crumbling tombstones told tales of a family whose tragic fate was shrouded in mystery. The oldest grave belonged to a woman named Eliza Winthrop, who died under mysterious circumstances in the late 1800s. Despite the creepy discovery, we pressed on, eager to enjoy the natural beauty surrounding us. However, as night fell, the atmosphere in the cabin grew tense. Strange symbols appeared on the walls, seemingly etched by unseen hands. It felt like the cabin itself was alive, feeding off our fear. That night, I was jolted awake by an eerie, childlike laughter. It pierced through the silence, making my skin crawl. I woke my friends, but they couldn't hear a thing. They accused me of having a nightmare, but I knew I hadn't been asleep. As the days passed, the cabin's haunting intensified. Objects moved on their own, and chilling whispers filled the air. One night, I saw a shadowy figure standing in the corner of my room, watching me. I rubbed my eyes thinking it was a trick of the light, but when I looked again, it was gone. The group began to argue and accuse each other of pranks. Tensions were high, and our dream vacation had turned into a living nightmare. We decided to leave the cabin, but every time we attempted to go, something inexplicable stopped us in our tracks. Feeling trapped, we delved into the history of the cabin and the Winthrop family. Rumors of a curse surrounding Eliza Winthrop started to surface. Legend had it that anyone who disturbed her resting place would be cursed with misfortune and tragedy. Fear gripped us, and we realized that our only hope was to find a way to lift the curse. Desperate, we sought the help of a local historian who knew the area's dark history. She revealed that Eliza had a son, Samuel, who was rumored to possess occult knowledge. Armed with this newfound information, we set out to find Samuel's resting place and unravel the curse. The historian warned us that the woods were treacherous, but we were determined to break free from the cabin's malevolent grip. The deeper we ventured into the woods, the more the atmosphere thickened with an otherworldly presence. At last, we stumbled upon an ancient oak tree where Samuel was buried. We dug up his grave, hoping to find something that would lift the curse. Within the decayed coffin, we found a journal filled with cryptic writings and strange symbols. The more we read, the more we realized that Samuel had dabbled in dark magic, attempting to resurrect his mother. His actions had unleashed a malevolent force that now haunted the cabin. Fueled by determination, we found a ritual to break the curse, involving the return of Samuel's journal to its resting place alongside his mother's grave. As we performed the ritual, the ground trembled beneath us, and the cabin in the distance shook violently. The curse lifted, and a sense of relief washed over us. The haunting ceased, and the cabin stood peacefully once again. As we left the cursed woods, we vowed never to speak of the terrifying events that had transpired. Back in the city, we tried to resume our lives, but the memory of that fateful vacation lingered. We had survived a horrifying ordeal, and our bond as friends grew stronger. Although we'd experienced something beyond our understanding, it taught us the importance of facing our fears and never underestimating the power of the unknown. The Jinxed Cabin was a chapter in our lives we would never forget, an unforgettable tale of terror and survival. Title: The Ghost Ship. It was supposed to be the ultimate adventure, a voyage on a majestic cruise ship through the mysterious Bermuda Triangle. My excitement mixed with apprehension as I boarded the vessel with my fellow thrill-seeking friends. We were eager to experience the wonders of the sea and the legends that surrounded the infamous triangle. The cruise ship, named the Ocean Serenade, was a grand marvel, with its towering masts and elegant cabins. As we set sail, I couldn't help but marvel at the vastness of the ocean and the allure of the Bermuda Triangle. Little did I know that this journey would lead us to a vacation gone horribly awry. On the first night, the ship was a vibrant hub of music, laughter, and revelry. But as the moon rose high in the sky, a thick fog crept in, shrouding the ship in an eerie mist. Strange things began to happen. Passengers reported seeing shadowy figures darting between the cabins, and whispers of ghostly apparitions circulated among the crew. My friend Lisa, a self-proclaimed skeptic, laughed off the ghost stories, attributing them to the vivid imaginations of the crew and passengers. However, as the days passed, even she couldn't deny the mounting evidence of something supernatural aboard the Ocean Serenade. One night I decided to investigate the ship's history, hoping to unravel the mysteries of the haunted cruise. I discovered that the Ocean Serenade had a grim past, as it was once a luxurious ocean liner that mysteriously disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle nearly a century ago. No trace of its passengers or crew was ever found. As we ventured deeper into the triangle's heart, the ship's paranormal activity intensified. The crew grew anxious, and many passengers refused to leave their cabins after dark. But curiosity got the better of us, and we couldn't resist exploring the uncharted territories of the ship. One evening, Lisa and I decided to brave the haunted rumors and explore the ship's lower decks. As we descended the dimly lit stairwell, an icy chill ran down my spine, and I felt as if we were being watched by unseen eyes. The air felt heavy with the weight of forgotten souls. We discovered an old library filled with dusty books, including the captain's log from the ship's doomed voyage. As we read through its pages, we unearthed a harrowing truth. The ship had been caught in a treacherous storm during its maiden journey, and the crew had desperately tried to navigate their way out of the triangle's clutches. But the storm was no ordinary tempest. The log detailed eerie encounters with glowing, ghostly apparitions that seemed to lure the ship further into the abyss. The entries spoke of a malevolent presence that whispered in the crew's ears, planting seeds of fear and doubt. As we delved deeper into the captain's log, we noticed a recurring symbol, a twisted, dark figure with outstretched arms. We had seen this very symbol etched in various places throughout the ship, confirming our worst fears. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared and the ship lurched violently. Panicked, we rushed back to the upper decks where chaos ensued. The ghostly apparitions appeared more vividly than ever before, moaning and wailing as they wandered through the panicked crowd. Lisa and I frantically searched for our friends, but they were nowhere to be found. We realized we had to confront the malevolent presence haunting the ship if we had any hope of escaping its grasp. Armed with newfound knowledge and a sense of resolve, we returned to the library and found a ritual described in the captain's log, a way to banish the malevolent spirits and break free from the triangle's hold. We gathered the necessary components and prepared for a perilous ritual on the ship's deck. The air grew thick with tension as we chanted the incantations, calling upon the forces of light to drive away the darkness that had engulfed the ship. The twisted figure that haunted our nightmares manifested before us, its presence palpable and terrifying. With the ritual's climax, a brilliant burst of light engulfed the ship, banishing the malevolent presence and its ghostly minions. The fog lifted, and the Ocean Serenade emerged from the Bermuda Triangle, safe and free. Exhausted but relieved, we were reunited with our friends, who had been under the ghostly trance during the climax of the ritual. We decided never to speak of the harrowing experience again, but the memory of that haunted voyage would stay with us forever. As the cruise came to an end, we stepped back onto solid ground, feeling both grateful and humbled by our encounter with the supernatural. The Ocean Serenade sailed off into the horizon, but its ghostly past would forever be etched in the annals of maritime legends. A chilling tale of a vacation gone wrong in the enigmatic Bermuda Triangle.